Welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Ordinary Marathoner Podcast. My name is Coach Scott. I'll be your host today. It is Thursday, July 23rd. Hope your week is going well so far. It's been pretty busy over here. We've been doing a lot of things going on. A lot of things in the background. We're going to talk about some of that. It's going to be some changes to the to Ordinary Marathoner, I think, as a structure going forward. They're kind of exciting, though. We want to talk about some of those today. We're going to talk about them we'll wait till the end of the podcast, though, and get busy on that. Yesterday, I did an FTP test. I did a ramp test, and we live streamed it over at the YouTube channel. If you want to see an old man in pain, if you want to see an old man struggle on the bike for about 30 minutes, you can go check that out. It was tough, man. It's a tough test, always a tough test. I do like the test, though. The test itself, the way it works, and if you guys are listening to the podcast, you know this before. If you watch the live stream, you know it, is it starts every minute. It adds, every minute you survive, it adds a new layer of intensity to the ride, a little new layer of difficulty, and it keeps going and adding and adding and adding. And basically until you can't go no more. And then they take a factor of basically your best minute. So they take your best average minute and they apply a factor of about 75% to that number. And that is your functional threshold power. Now, functional threshold power is actually defined as the most power that you can push out for a 1 hour period. But they've kind of found that testing, like just saying, hey, go all out for an hour, it's a tough test. It's a great workout, but it's not necessarily advantageous, and no one really wants to do that for a full hour. It doesn't fit into everyone's training program. So there's got to be a way to calculate that easier. And the way they do it is they have these alternative tests. And one of them being the ramp test that I just told you about. And the other one that I've seen common is a 20-minute test where you basically exert yourself as hard as you can for 20 minutes as opposed to the full hour. And then they take a factor of that, which is usually 90 to 95%. Now, one of the reasons I like the ramp test is because I feel like it's very tight. It correlates very well with your actual physical strength and how you exert force through the pedals. Let me tell you what I mean. With a 20-minute test, I feel like it adds a layer of another factor, something we call heart and desire. And not that that's not a good thing to measure. It certainly is. But when you're doing a 20-minute ride, it's a long time. It doesn't sound like a long time, but it's a long time. And, you got to hang in there. And you got to keep pushing the power through those pedals for 20 long minutes. And sometimes you start out with those things and you get a little wide-eyed and you set your sights a little high. You know where you want to be and you really want to exert yourself and feel good about the final results. So you go after it. And then halfway through, you're like, oh, what did I just do? And then you struggle. You hit the wall and you struggle bus through, you're riding the struggle bus the last 10 minutes at way less than what you can do. And it skews the test lower. Also, there is that quit factor. I mean, you might be the kind of people, and I do find that there are certain people that can focus and keep attention on an even keel through a long event, like a marathon or an Ironman or a century bike ride, and they can keep that focus over a long event. But sometimes it comes in bursts, that energy. They come in bursts. Maybe they can't do it as well in bursts. So for 20 minutes, it might be a shorter time for them. So it's hard for them to know how to push real hard for that 20 minutes. They're used to doing it over long periods of time. Maybe they're even better at it than long periods of time. But anyway, it's just a factor that I'm going to label as heart. Whether or not you have a lot of it or a little of it, it comes into play for that 20-minute period. The ramp test, on the other hand, it's almost like, to me, I feel like the ramp test is more like, sort of like when you're maxing out on the bench press, right? Your body can push out what it can push out. And if you put too much weight on that thing, it's going to say no. At a certain point, it's going to say no. You could have the desire to do it. You could have the want to do it. You could be really psyched up and, do everything that you could possibly do to be ready for that moment. If your body can't lift that weight, it ain't going to do it. And I find the same thing when I hit the ramp test. Is that intensity gets harder for a minute, and you want to go as long as you possibly can, and you're psyched and you want to do it, and then all of a sudden you hit that level and boom, your body says no. the pedals slow down, your cadence slows down, you try to push as hard as you can, but you know you've hit the wall and you know that you're done. Your body cannot exert one more watt of energy. And that's kind of why I like the ramp test. And what's interesting, it is interesting too, I think, to put it on the YouTube and see how you can suffer through it. I've done the test 3 times now on YouTube. Different results. I didn't really like the results. I don't really want to get into why. There's a little glitchy factor involved that I'm pretty sure I'm correct about, but I didn't feel good about the test. I don't think it gave me the right number, but that's something to talk to another time. Mike Romans actually called me out a little bit on that. He watched the video, the live stream with his son Nathan, who was 7. He said, "Hey, I don't think you give yourself enough credit, man." And I gotta admit, I am guilty of that. I am very self-critical. I have a certain idea of where I want to be and fitness wise and where I want to, go from there. And when I don't hit those levels, it upsets me. It makes me upset. It makes me question the things I've been doing. It makes me question whether I can do more. And it's upsetting to me. And that might not make for a good podcast. I don't know. You're the guys that want listening. But I agree. I am self-critical. Now his son Nathan was watching. At a certain point, I just stopped talking because I was focused on getting the job done. Why, Dad? Why did he stop talking? Dad, why is he complaining? Dad, why is he? Why did he stop? He should keep going. Listen, buddy. I know you're 7. I know you're 7. This is hard work, man. It's hard work. You come do it. And the fact of the matter is, so Nathan went and told his dad to set up his bike on the bike trainer at home. Nathan wants to beat me on the FTP test. Nathan wants to beat me. 7 years old. Let me tell you something, pal. You ain't beating me. You're 7. You're 7. I'm 46. I'm going to beat you. I'm stronger. I'm going to beat you. You can't win. You can't win. That being said, I really want to see you try. I think it's awesome. I am, Nathan's like, I don't know. He's like my new buddy. He watches the live stream, especially when his dad is doing the Thursday night ride, which we'll talk about in a second. But man, Nathan, I love the fire. I love the desire. I hope your dad figures out how to put that thing on the trainer. I hope you give it a go. You see how hard it is, bud. But I'll tell you what, you keep working at it. You get on that thing. You ride hard. You give it what you got. You see how it hurts. You see how it ain't no joke. I'm not laughing during the live stream during those moments. If I am, that's just because I have mental deficiencies. But you gotta love the pain. Gotta embrace it. You'll see how tough it is. And I'll tell you what, one day, you keep working at it, one day, you're gonna beat me, but not only are you gonna beat me, you can beat your dad. And your dad's a good cyclist, by the way. And you will. It just takes hard work. It takes determination. Just keep on at it. Just keep on at it. So I want to see you do it. I want to see your dad set that thing up. You can see how hard it is. It's not easy. And I want to see how you do. But more so than how you do that first time you do it, is I want to see you keep doing it and keep working at it and getting better and better. You're going to get bigger and bigger and stronger, and it's going to come around. And man, it's good to see. It's good to see a little kid just kind of watching someone else do it and then wanting to get involved himself. I wish you the best, Nathan. You can't beat me, but one day you will. I promise. It's not setting the bar too high, I don't think. Thursday night. It is Thursday. Today is Thursday. So Thursday night ride, 6:35 p.m. If you want to join us, you just go on over to Zwift. If you're on the Zwift platform, follow me. My name is it's O is my first name, and the last name is Ordinary Marathoner. It's kind of like a marketing thing. It's just so I could see the full thing when I race. And I look like a complete idiot, but that's all right. Whatever. It is what it is. Marketing. But follow me there. I will send you an invite. If you don't see the invite, reach out to me personally. Try to find me on email or on Facebook or something and reach out, and we will get you connected, invited to that ride. It's a fun time. We do about 50 minutes on the bike. We do it in keep everyone together mode. So it doesn't matter if you're a newcomer, if you're a seasoned cyclist. It doesn't matter if you're doing just a zone 2 easy ride that day and you want to enjoy the trivia that we do, because we're doing movie trivia tonight. It doesn't matter if you want to get a workout in. You want to you can get into the group, set it to a workout, and you can give it your all. You're not going to get very far out of the group because we're in that keep everyone together mode. It's been really good, actually. Zwift's been doing a really good job with that. It was glitchy for a while, but now it's good. And you can enjoy the trivia. If you're kind of like in between intervals, You can try to take part in the trivia and answer the questions. But if you're doing, and then if you're in those intense phases, then you don't have to. But we can do whatever. You can do whatever you want. Just get invited to the ride and come along for the ride. It's been really cool, and we do live stream those on our YouTube channel as well. Friday night is a big night for us too. Friday night we're doing our next installment of the Team Ordinary Happy Hour and Coaches panel. It's a Zoom meeting. Our guest this week is Jill Becker. She is an ultramarathoner, ultra-running coach. A couple people in our group use her as their coach, as their ultra coach. And some of the people that I know, I talk to them about her in advance, and they love her. They say she's awesome. She's going to be an awesome guest. I can't wait to pepper her with questions about ultra running. I have tons of them. If you have questions you have to ask or you want to ask, you can send them to me in advance. I'll make sure that we do ask them. You can join the Zoom meeting, which we record those, and we will upload those to YouTube as well. So if you can't make it for whatever reason, you can check in afterwards. But we will do the Zoom meeting, and you'll have a chance to ask in the chat room or whatever, any questions that you want. You can actually talk to her face to face over the Zoom as well, if that comes up. So it's going to be great. It's going to be a great time. The Zoom link, you can find the Zoom link on our Facebook page. It's in our group section. The discussion group is Ordinary Marathoners. You can also find them on the Ordinary Marathoner page. Sorry. If you're having trouble finding it, two things you can do. One, make sure you're on our mailing list. We'll send out a link tomorrow morning through MailChimp. If you're not on the mailing list, go to ordinarymarathoner.com, right-hand column on your PC, or scroll down if you're on your cell phone and look for the mailing list. It's just your name and your email address. We don't need your phone. We don't need your mailing address, nothing like that. We're just going to, and we don't send tons of emails out. It's not like you're going to bombard you, but we will send out the link to the happy hour meeting tomorrow morning. So you can join the mailing list before then if you want, or reach out to me and I'll just send you the link. I can't send out the link to everyone, because then you get these people that just join Zoom meetings and then they crash them and they make them, they ruin it for everybody else. So I just heard horror stories and I don't want to get involved. So we're just going to keep it tight to the vest. And if you want to go, but if you're listening to this, you don't have to be on Team Ordinary to join it. Even though it's called the Team Ordinary Happy Hour. Eventually, if things get bigger and bigger and bigger, we may restrict it, because you can only have 100 people on a Zoom call. But for now, we have plenty of room, plenty of space, and we'd love to see you all there. If you're listening to this, you're invited, so come along. Speaking of ultramarathons, I got to talk about it. I got to kind of preview this, I guess, is, over the years, we've had a lot of guests, a lot of ultramarathoners on the program, on the podcast. I remember Melinda Howard trying to talk me into doing one. Jen Bergstrom certainly is trying to talk me into doing an ultra many times. Most recently, and probably most successfully, Tamara Johnson was pretty darn close. Pretty darn close to taking the plunge. It's hard for me. It's not, it was never something that I really, really wanted to do. Although now I'm starting to come around to it. I really am. The idea of doing an ultra marathon, or it'd be 50 miles, 100 miles, something like that. It's starting to appeal to me, and I don't really know why. And another factor is one of my clients, Erin Shepard, who's awesome. She's doing great, by the way. She's an incredible person. She works so hard. Told me the other day that she's contemplating on signing up for an ultra next year. Now, as a coach, the one thing that I kind of take pride in, and the one thing I like to do, is I don't like to coach somebody to do an event that I haven't done already. So typically, if I'm coaching someone for a marathon or I'm coaching someone for an Ironman, I've done that already. So I have an idea of what they're going to face. I have the adversity they're going to face, the things they're going to come up against, the things that they need to do to avoid trouble, things they need to remember to do, the way to train, the way to, all that good stuff. The way they have to stay focused through training, through, things they have to do on race day, all that stuff. I have been there. I have done it. I know what to do. When it comes to an ultra, I've never done one. So if my client is going to do an ultra, then theoretically I should be non-committal. I can't say it, but Friday night happy hour, maybe these guys will finally talk me into taking the plunge. I got to tell you, I feel pretty close. I feel pretty close to being able to take the plunge, but we'll see how it goes on tomorrow's podcast. See if they can't talk me into doing an ultra some point, probably the next year. All right, that brings us, we're kind of wrapping that part up for today and moving on to what I want to talk about in the beginning. I said there's been some organizational changes here. It's nothing really big, nothing really is going to change too much from the way you know. It's really a lot of stuff in the background. I want to talk about that a little bit. You know, Steph and I started this podcast about 3 years ago. It was a podcast, and then we kind of added in our Ordinary Marathon charity race. We started our YouTube channel. We started Team Ordinary last year. I got my coaching certificate. We started doing that. Now, previously, up until a few months ago, we ideally fit the IRS's definition of a hobby. We never made money doing this. We always lost money. We never really sought out revenue streams and tried to maximize revenues and profits and all that stuff. And it's probably still not our main focus. Our main focus is to just come up with a product that you guys enjoy, bring people together, and really just be inspired by all that you guys do. And you do tons. I mean, I can't even, when I need the inspiration, it's all around me. And it's very easy. When you want to do something, when you want to be a certain type of person, the type of person that works out hard, that does good things, that accomplishes things physically, mentally, in the sport that you embrace, it's so much easier when you hang out with people that enjoy the same thing and have the same goals and have the same discipline that requires you to have in order to achieve your goals. And it's so great to see that it's basically we've reached the scope now. And especially with the coaching has kind of taken off in the last couple of months. We've added a bunch of new clients. We're onboarding some more in the next couple of months. That we have reached the point where we may not fit that IRS definition of hobby. We're doing too well. We're doing too well. So last week, Stephanie and I, we registered Team Ordinary LLC as a business in the state of Massachusetts. And I didn't really know it was going to feel like a big deal. I mean, I've had some conversations with some attorneys and some accountants and, doing some background stuff that we have to do kind of to form the business, taking up a lot of my time. There's other things going on too. I mean, it's not even just that. There's other bigger things down the line that I can't really talk about just yet. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. But they're all great. They are all great. And expanding this whole community, this whole idea that we've had 3 years ago that just has developed into what it is today. And now to create a business around it. It's wonderful. And it's really, it's motivating. It's like lit a fire. It has definitely lit a fire with both of us. We just, we're working at night. We have a family room. Some of you guys might have this in your house. I have a family room and a living room. We hang out in the living room. The family room, we use at Christmas. We put the Christmas tree in there. So it's kind of like out of the way, but it's nice. It looks pretty. And also there's a fireplace in that room. And Stephanie and I, probably the first year I moved in here, we lit the fireplace one night, sat there, had a glass of wine, put the fire out, went to bed. And 3 hours later, the carbon monoxide detectors went off in our house. We had to call the fire department. They showed up with the police at 2 a.m. with sirens blazing, and and the neighbors thought we were nuts. And we never lit the fireplace again. We never use our family room ever, ever, ever. It's just a means to get from the living room, the kitchen, to the backyard, and that's it. But it's a beautiful room, and it's got the fireplace, and it's got this big window that leads to the outdoors. You don't even, in the daytime, especially in the summer, you don't even have to turn the lights on. It's just natural light in that room. It's wonderful. It's a great place to be. So we decided, we have the studio here that I record in. It's in our basement. Stephanie has an office upstairs. It's time to do a home office, a real home office. And we decided we're going to put it in the family room. It's a room, and it's one of those things. And we talked about this when I did our home gym probably about a year ago. If you are intent on spending time in a room in your house, whether it be a gym, whether it be the studio, whether it be the home office, you want to work on a project, you got to make that room a room that you want to be in. So Stephanie's been working on this for weeks now, we ordered a conference table, like a high conference table. That's where we're going to be doing our work, so we can stand up if we want, or we ordered these stools that we sit on. Now the desk came. It was mailed the other day. It cost over $100 to ship. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That thing better come off Costco used to have the white glove service where they come out and they built some of the things in my gym. Basically, they came over, they brought the stuff here, took it out of the box, put it all together, basically they left it perfect condition, all built, all assembled, everything. I was kind of expecting the same thing from the table. So it was my shock when the truck door opened and the guy just like tossed a pallet. He put a pallet full of boxes into my garage. But I wasn't deterred. I'm not very handy. I'm not very good with stuff like that. I always make mistakes, but I wasn't deterred. I really wanted to get an office up and running. This was last Friday. And I sat there and I put together the table. I put together the stools. I got the table, the bottom part of the table, the legs. I put that into the office, into the new space. I'm really excited. The tabletop, it's a conference table. The tabletop weighs about 200 pounds. It is ridiculously heavy. And so I had to kind of drag it off the pallet. You know, I had put something underneath it so it would slide, drag it off the pallet into the living room, flip it over to see what it's going to look like. And there's a big gouge in the tabletop. It's like someone dropped something heavy and, you know, on top of the table and dented and gouged it. So now we have to get a new one, and now we have to wait until the new one is shipped. I mean, we spent a lot of money on the desk, and you gotta wait for the new one to ship. It's frustrating, it's annoying, and especially annoying when, you know, this was like our office was going to be open, and I was supposed to be sitting at my desk last Friday with this new business that we created and start moving, and now we're kind of like on hold. Everything is still on the dining room table right now. Both of us are doing we've kind of got the home office at the dining room table. It's a disaster. We haven't had a proper meal on that table in months. And, but it's for a reason. It's for a productive reason. So we don't really ever really clean it up as much as we should have. But now we're going to move it all to this office. And unfortunately, we're just now we're on delay with the office, which is annoying, frustrating. But man, I tell you, it feels good and it feels right. And I tell you, one of the things that I do is when I'm on the bike, especially when I'm on the bike, sometimes when I'm upstairs doing nothing, but I watch a lot of motivational videos, right? And you guys have seen, we've talked about this before, like the concept of the side hustle, right? Most people go to work every day. Maybe they sit in a cubicle. They're miserable. There's a big misery factor in this country, unfortunately. People are upset with their jobs. They don't like it. They're not challenged by it. They don't love it. It's a means to an end. It pays the bills. And they want to do something else, but they can't really get that something else off the ground. And so we try. And for years, I've always had a side hustle. And it might not even be something that's there to make money, something there to focus on and be a productive use of my time. Otherwise, you sit down in front of that Netflix these days and you put on one show and you're like, oh, let me watch one episode. Then you watch 2 episodes, then you watch 3 episodes and you're like, oh, wow, there's 8 seasons of this. And then you're on the couch for the next 2 months. It's just terrible. It's a terrible thing that we do to ourselves. We're not productive. And I get in those ruts too. The reason I know these things is because I get into those ruts and I don't like it. I like having something productive. I like at the end of the day saying, hey, I had this much time and look, I did something. I produced, I made something nice, something that someone else could use. I helped somebody. And I love stuff like that. Love it. So I try to always make a productive use of my time. I've always done that. Whether it be like I'm doing a sports website when I was younger, I learned the guitar. I was part of a band. We played out in Manhattan at some bars. It was great. I wrote some books that I now disown, but they're out there somewhere. Things that were productive uses of my time. And this Ordinary Marathoner project has always seemed like a productive use of time. And now that we're coaching people and we're really kind of pushing forward with it, I am not working otherwise. So therefore it's a little bit of pressure. We're not starving or nothing, but it's a little bit of pressure right now to try to develop this thing and make it something worthwhile, something that I'll be able to do full time. That would be really, really cool. Can I do it? I don't know. But one of the things I do is I sit there and I watch motivational speakers on TV. And especially when I'm on the bike, I do this. And I sat there and I'm watching this weekend as I'm riding. And, typically what I do is I throw one on that I know, like an Eric Thomas or, even some Joe Rogan stuff that I like, I'll put on. And then you just go through the YouTube rabbit hole, right? It goes through your video, and maybe I'll watch an Ironman video. It goes to the next one. Just kind of gives you on the spiral into videos that you never really thought you might like, and all of a sudden you're watching them because you have no other choice. So this weekend I watched an Eric Thomas, and it led me to a Denzel Washington commencement speech that led me to a Matthew Mcconaughey commencement speech. Matthew Mcconaughey, I tell you, man, I was not expecting him to be as good as he was. University of Houston commencement speech. Look that up. It was awesome. And I don't know if he writes this stuff himself or if he has someone write it for him. His delivery is amazing. I was shocked. I was shocked. I didn't really have high expectations. I got kind of suckered into it. I'm like, wow, this is really, really good. I think like The Rock does a couple that I've liked. I've just seen a bunch of them that are really, really good. And it always strikes me. What strikes me is this. And especially with the business ones, especially when they try to talk you into like kind of, how the secret to starting your own business. And the one guy that I saw was honest. I think the most honest answer was comedian Bo Burnham was on Conan O'Brien. And Conan said, well, what's the secret? If someone said to you, hey, what was the secret to your success? What is the one thing that you should do to become as successful as you? And he said, give up. Just give up right now. He's like, it's silly for me to go and tell you. He's like, I've been lucky. It's silly for me to go and tell you how I did it, and then you follow my footsteps. When the chances of you becoming what I've become is basically, it's a little arrogant to say that, but he didn't say that. He said it in a better way. Basically, his point was, it's like asking a lottery winner, what is the secret to your success? Well, what you should do is you should liquidate all of your possessions, borrow as much money as you can from the bank, and buy Powerball tickets. That's how I did it. And in a way, it's a joke, but in a way, you just don't know. There's always that luck factor. Right, with businesses and how they succeed, with motivational speakers. The thing with motivational speakers, everyone that I see, they've all made it. They've all been successful, and they preach hard work, and that's a great thing to preach. And they preach doing things the right way and sticking with it and persevering and working hard and all that good stuff. But you can't teach a break, right? And granted, you got to be in the right time, in the right place, in the right time to catch that break. Right? But they all got it. And whether it's, who knows, for example, like I mentioned 2 actors. So if you're an actor, maybe there's a role and you go for it and you're kind of in the second tier, but the person who they had their eye on for the role couldn't do it. Now you step in and you take advantage of that situation. Granted, you got to be in the right place at the right time. Granted, you've worked hard up until that point to earn it, but maybe there's someone sitting right next to you that was going for that part too, and they've worked just as hard as you. You get the break. They do not. Now you're doing motivational speakers and they're in the audience. You see what I mean? And I'm trust me, I am not talking down to hard work. That is not what I am doing. What I'm saying is it could be very small, it could be very large. There's a luck factor involved that takes to go from low level to high level, to being on the stage to being in the audience. And it could be nothing. It could, you could have earned everything. I'm not saying that. Please don't twist my words. What I'm saying is, it's very easy for a motivational speaker to stand up there with the experience and the success and tell you how to do it. And it's another thing for you to actually sit there and do it and then take the risks necessary. And they may have taken the risks. It's hard to take risks. For every motivational speaker that's up there that took the risk, took serious risk to get where they are, there's probably a dozen of them that took the risk and didn't work out, So it's very hard to say, do it this way, do it that way. But for us right now, starting this business feels like a fresh thing, a new thing. It feels like a flower that can blossom. That's kind of weird to say, but it could be something really great. It could be something really great. And we're just growing in all the right ways and all different things, whether it be the podcast, whether it be the Team Ordinary, whether it be coaching, just all the people that are coming in that way. It's great. It is great. And so, you see a lot of the talk of the people who have made it. I'm the person that's kind of at the precipice right now where it can go either way, right? It can go either way. It can be really, really great. It could be a spectacular failure. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to take all the lessons that I've learned from marathoning, from Ironman, from training, from accomplishing all that stuff that I've accomplished. I'm going to try to apply that as best as I can to this business, to my baby. And grow in the right ways and do the right things and help people out. And I think hopefully, ultimately, we'll be sitting here talking about the success of Ordinary Marathoner. That being said, I hope you guys have a really great day. Thank you so much for coming along with us for the ride. It's only going to get better from here. And remember, every day is an ordinary day unless you make it extraordinary. So get after it, guys.